Looks like you're in a good mood today.
Well, geez. I hope I look like I'm in a good mood every day. How are you doing? I like your shirt.
Thank you. I don't have much to complain about today. Yeah, you remember that we're being recorded?
Of course, of course. I mean, there's a camera blinking at me right there, so... Hello, camera. Context clues and everything. Do I look okay today? I wasn't sure about my shirt. I didn't want something that washed me out or, accidentally displayed a weather map or something, or did that little flickering thing,
Your shirt seems more than adequate for its intended purpose.
Ah, good. Adequate. More than, even. There are far worse things to be than adequate. Could be a complete and total blight on everything everywhere. So I'll take adequate. So we're supposed to be talking about something specific, right? I'm not entirely sure I remember what it was.
Your goals.
Ah, yes. My goals. I have those. What would you like to know about them?
How are they coming along?
Well, good. They're coming along good. Just fine. A lot of them are still far away, but, just putting one foot in front of the other. Oh, I did actually manage to finish a chunk of work the other day. Not all of it, but a good chunk of it. Wasn't too bad either. Needs a bit of sprucing up, but it actually almost looks like what I was hoping it would look like, so.
And what is it you do again?
Shock and awe. We've had so many conversations about it. Am I so forgettable? Thought we were friends.
It's useful to have you say it for the recording.
Oh, right. Duh. I'm a baggage modeler. I model baggage. No, you've probably never seen any of my pieces. In this stage of my career, I spend more time thinking about how to do it than actually doing it.
Well, you said you finished a chunk of work. That must have been very relieving for you. You usually have a long list of things that you say you need to do.
Yeah, I say it because it's true. It felt really good, though. Nicely accomplished. Felt like how everyone else must feel when they first wake up in the morning. Congrats! You did it! Now time for a celebration.
A celebration for finishing work or for waking up?
Well, I mean, okay, obviously people don't celebrate waking up unless, you're in a coma or something. That's worth celebrating, definitely. Unless, I guess you didn't want them to wake up because, I don't know, you were after an inheritance or something, but then you just have to throw a pretend celebration, I guess. Get them for good with poison cake. Never trust a pineapple upside down cake. But I mean, to celebrate waking up, actually, I think people are pretty groggy in the morning. I've met morning people though. I just can't. Like, don't talk to me for at least 2 hours until after I've been up. I need time to recover from sleep. Get my body and brain in order. I think I'm still recovering from sleep from a decade ago though, so yeah, a huge backlog of things to do. Finished waking up from 2013. Almost a check. Not quite yet though.
Do you have reason to celebrate very often?
Well, need to achieve more than a partial goal every third blue moon to get all celebratory. I don't know, can you think of anything we've ever talked about that I should be celebrating?
It's about what you think.
Oh, come on. Anything? Give me something.
Do you still feel like you fish too hard for compliments?
Oof. Ouch. Okay. Point taken. And no, by the way, no fishing. I hate seafood anyway.
Is there anything you're proud of at the moment?
I mean, I did get out of bed, put on this adequate shirt, and make it here without being the cause of any apocalypse. I may have caused a traffic accident as I whistled and skipped down the street, but that's just a silly little thing. I'm sure it went unnoticed.
Is traveling usually hard for you?
Well, no. I mean, kind of. It's not It's not hard in the sense that I have difficulty with it, but sometimes I just really can't be bothered. But you said you thought I'd be able to help you with this, so here I am.
Yes, thank you.
Well, I mean, thank you. Really, I mean, you specifically asked me to come in, even though I haven't been back in a while, and it felt like you wanted to hear what I had to say. Specifically, that's it's validating. I like that. I like that you wanted me on the recording because I have something to offer. What you're doing that only I can offer, and that makes me feel good.
It helps us achieve our goals, so it's kind of you to come in.
Kind. Yeah, well, there's a shortage of kind people in the world, so I'm glad you consider me one of them. But I mean, realistically, I think I just like that you wanted to hear from me. Inflated my head a bit, Thought it might be nice to have some more inflating. I think it's probably more selfishness than kindness, but what's a little selfishness if it helps people in the end? Traffic accident carnage aside, I'm pretty sure that my being here isn't actively screwing anybody over, so hooray! Everyone wins! Except the traffic people.
It seems like you're very concerned about being kind.
Well, I think I'd argue I'm more concerned about being selfish. People like me, we take a lot of energy. In the sense that we require a lot of energy to be around, or we're just big ol' energy black holes. Sometimes that comes from selfishness, so, trying not to be selfish leads to accidental kindness, then cool.
Do you think kindness is the absence of selfishness?
Oh, man, that's hard. I mean, what looks like selfishness from one perspective is kindness from another, I guess? But I think people are aware of that concept on the whole, and so you end up with a whole lot of, well, I'm being kind to myself, which is often a quarter of a hair's breadth away from being selfish most of the time. I'll never forget that one time I confronted somebody who actively made attempts to ruin my life, and they said, well, I've forgiven myself for everything I did, and there's nothing more I can do. Like with that aggravating tone of serenity and everything. Like they were so sad that I hadn't found enlightenment. Because that's what so much self-help says. Forgive yourself. Sometimes no. Sometimes you need to be chained to a wall until you achieve true penance.
It sounds like you haven't forgiven that person for whatever they did.
Absolutely fucking not. You want to talk about goals? That particular person was dead set against me achieving mine. Why? Because me achieving my own goals was selfish. Because I couldn't constantly do something for them if I was doing something for me. Even when trying to do things for them resulted in me winding up several steps back from where I had been, worse off than before. And if I asked for help, no, that was selfish. I died. I literally died and was in the hospital in a coma, and they had the nerve to tell me that was inconvenient for them. And do you know what it's like to be in a coma for a week? Maybe it doesn't sound like it's that long to be down and out, but muscle atrophy sets in pretty quickly. It took me another week to be able to walk unassisted, and even then it was only for a few steps before my breath ran out. 2 months on, and I still had to lay on the cart when I was going for groceries because I didn't have the strength to make it around the store, which, by the way, I was doing for them. And they still didn't even come to see me. Not once while I was in there. They didn't have time. I lost the full use of an organ when in that coma, but they've forgiven themselves, sure.
And how did you wind up in that coma?
You know how. Look at your notes. I don't want to talk about it here.
Do you think this has impacted how you view people who can't help you? Do you think maybe you see people who can't help you as selfish and unkind?
Man. I didn't realize we were going to be talking about things this dark and heavy. I'd have brought a flashlight or something, for the darkness. Well, yes and no. The answer to your question. I have limited perspective when considering other people's views. I don't know everything about them, just as they don't know everything about me and probably aren't all that interested in it. And one does not usually drop, I was in a life-altering coma, into casual conversation. I don't know what they've got going on. Sometimes that matters and sometimes it doesn't. Like, when there's the convenience of gray area regarding what the standards of practice are for helping or not helping. You can expect a doctor to help more often than not, but is it really negligence or malpractice if they just go by the book? Sometimes the book says there's nothing that can be done. Sometimes the doctor is kind enough to consider something off the page and will discuss with you some possibilities.
You say sometimes, like it's exceedingly rare.
Well, I wouldn't be me if the meaning behind my speech actually matched the words coming out of my mouth, eh? Is that why you asked me here? To be a case study in what the hell is this guy actually saying?
Do you think it's so rare to find kind and reliable people? Or do you think everyone is just being selfish in their own way?
No. I mean, sometimes people are genuinely kind. They really are. And even though we usually assert that we can rely on kind people, I think it's funny, actually, that sometimes I expect less of people who are kind, in a good way. Kindness is like a shorthand, a way of letting people know that you understand and are aware of problematic situations. Not empathy. Empathy can lead to an echo chamber kind of situation, and everyone involved spirals further and further downward into the dark. The ceaseless depths of that chamber, cyclically weighing each other down by their collective agreement that things are shit. Suffocating commiseration. It's why I don't necessarily like being around people who are like me or have the same major problems as me. I don't want to be dragged down, because I know I could be, and I know I am certainly capable of pulling other people down with me. But kind people, you don't have to explain yourself to them. You rarely have to justify yourself. All that they need to know is that you aren't quite up to pace, and they're willing either to give you a hand to catch up or won't fault you for arriving a little late. With unkind people, well, it's the opposite, isn't it? You have to stop dead in your tracks, wasting time and losing ground and explaining every little detail of your predicament, fighting to inflict understanding on them. I mean, sometimes you don't have to, but if you don't, there's absolutely no chance you'll be able to catch up. Those unkind people don't care about your baggage, and they certainly don't want to learn about it, but with kind people, which side were they on, sometimes you have enough trust that you'll be forgiven for lagging, that you can actually set the baggage down for a bit and catch up, or even, God's forbid, get ahead. And it's not even that you necessarily want these people, kind or unkind, to open your baggage and take inventory of every little thing in it. A lot of times it's enough just to have your baggage acknowledged. Kind people present with the understanding that baggage exists, and you carry it. Unkind people condemn you for it.
Maybe they're carrying their own baggage.
Well, yes, of course, fucking duh. But that's the other thing. Am I, in the act of trying to get someone to acknowledge the bag of boulders that I'm carrying, being unkind by not asking about theirs first? That's definitely what it feels like sometimes. Like I'm the villain for not being considerate, and you'd be the fool to support the villain, but...
But
I mean, a lot of times, those people have authority, for whatever reason. When you really have to stop and explain your baggage, that person has authority over you, whether you've given it to them or it's inherent in the circumstances. And it's so damn frustrating when you're running this race, guided by a race-running coach, and they seem like they've never seen anyone try to run a race with a bag of boulders. No, this race is, in fact, a boulder bag running relay. But they only tell you how to run a race without a bag of boulders. They can't show you a workable way to carry the boulders while you're running, even if it slows you down a bit, just for the sake of finishing the relay. They might point you vaguely to some group that might possibly have an interest in discussing boulders, but that's it. And those people probably know next to nothing about running bag boulder relays. Either put the bag down or shut up and run with it, and don't you dare drop one. And don't expect to have your boulder juggling efforts acknowledged when your race is calculated, called. I don't run races.
it sounds like you spend more time stopped to explain your boulder bag.
Well, I try not to. If I have to stop and explain, then one of us is probably going to be thought of as unreliable. No one likes that. People like likable people. Likable people can be forgiven.
Do you think you have a lot to be forgiven for?
I mean, I basically wake up every day with the assumption that someone is worse off for my existence, yes. I've gotten better, but I am not so deftly keeping my boulder bags held aloft. There's a shortage of trainers for that. Don't always even know when I've dropped one, but someone else will notice I've dropped one, and then I'm unreliable because I might have squished someone, and no one likes being squished. Not a very kind thing to do, squishing someone.
Are unreliable people also always unkind? Are kind people always reliable?
Well, it sucks to have to say it, but maybe. Yeah. I mean, immediately, I'm sure there are plenty of people who would say that's completely unfair. You know, just because someone doesn't behave the way you think they should, it doesn't mean they're a monster. I think these people are usually just thinking about themselves. Of course, they can justify their own actions. We all can. We all do, but... You know, kindness is one of those labels you can't really give yourself. And not everyone is going to receive the same label from everyone else. An angel, to me, could be a demon to someone else, and vice versa. I think maybe... I don't know, the kindest thing we can do, you know, that I can do for myself and for everyone else, is just assume that everyone else is kind and not give them a reason to prove otherwise.
Which you discover by relying on them.
Yes.
So your suggestion is not to rely on anyone.
Well, kind of. Yes.
Do you think that you are reliable or that anyone relies on you?
Oh no! I'm a complete asshole! I should know. I let myself down on the daily.
Why do you run these races if they cause you such distress? To be clear, why do you keep doing the work that you do?
Well, I can't... not. Oh no! My double negative has offended you into silence.
I'm just giving you room to elaborate.
Oh. Well, I mean, I have a lot of interests. You know, I'm fascinated by most things. I have done a lot of other things, either as survival jobs or hobbies, and consider that I could go into them pretty quickly and with some ease, but even though I thought I could, and sometimes the work was dead easy and I was pretty damn skilled at it, there's really nothing that reminds me of my ambition or desires quite like what I do. If I did bad work at some other job, I couldn't care less, and I never stayed at them for very long. Anyway, usually it's when I did poorly on the job or got bored that I found something else. Screwed myself over a couple of times with that mentality, but anyway. I am thoroughly fascinated by what I do. I appreciate its usefulness even when other people don't, maybe especially when other people don't. It's like it gives me this otherwise esoteric cipher by which I can translate and understand and help other people understand things.
You don't like the attention you get?
You know, it's weird. That rarely occurs to me when I'm working. I want to be given the opportunity to do more of the work, not necessarily to be recognized for it. I mean, obviously those things go hand in hand, but I get more satisfaction from showing off the bags than being the shower. I mean, yeah, I like being told I did good work, but this is the one thing where I can weigh in on its goodness based on whether or not I feel I did what I wanted to do with it. You know, alongside others' opinions. And if it's bad, then... I mean, it's annoying, sometimes enraging and depressing, but it makes me want to do it again, not find something else. I've sworn to quit innumerable times, but I can't. I mean, yeah, sure, I'd like certain achievements to be a shortcut for conversation or to have some material representation of my worthiness, but it's always about the work. I'm happiest when I get to do it, and I'm most upset when I can't. And unfortunately, there are a lot of things that get in the way that we don't always have a set way to overcome, despite what some people might say. Jesus, this freaking alarm, it's so obnoxious. You're almost dead, time to die. You're almost dead, time to die. I mean, I know alarm. Thank you, I'm aware.
That's your...
My I'm dying alarm. Yeah. It's just reminding me that not all of my organs work properly, because, you know, sometimes I forget. Actually, sometimes. God forbid I start to relax a little, eh?
I imagine that gets in the way of your work sometimes too.
Yeah, well, It's certainly one of the larger boulders in my bag. Well, more like knotted to my ankle. I can set the boulder bags down, set all of them down that I want, but this one stuck to me. You think I'd look good with a massive ankle bracelet? I think I could rock a massive ankle bracelet. Not like the criminal kind.
You should wear whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Geez, your friendly meter is set to 0 today, isn't it? You could at least humor me.
Does it bother you when I don't humor you?
I mean, a bit. I know it shouldn't. I know I'm the one being weird, but just trying to be friendly.
Does being weird help you work towards your goals?
I mean, sometimes it's a requirement, right?
How so?
Well, I mean, I want people to like me. Duh.
Why do you need people to like you?
That's how you move onward and upwards, isn't it? Well, we're talking about goals, right? There are only so many goals I can achieve by myself, and there are fewer reasons that anyone else might be impelled to help me achieve them. I mean, for the most part, as long as I don't break any laws or rules, all they have to do is tolerate me. And people are so very, very happy to throw rules at you when you ask for help.
No one has ever helped you?
No, of course people have helped me. But those people liked me. They didn't hide behind rules if they didn't have to. That said they were only allowed to grant me so much energy. I mean, no one's really broken any rules for me as far as I know, but some people were willing to expend just a smidge of extra energy to help me catch up. That's pretty much all I ever ask for, I think. You know, if I'm lagging, I appreciate some help catching up.
You don't want special treatment?
That's hard to answer. I think I want different treatment. What I need to enable me to stay in the race, to use that picture again, is sometimes different than what other people need.
Everyone needs something a bit different. Yeah, no two people are the same.
Obviously. But you can usually lump groups of different people together under one umbrella and give them some pre-formed plan of action, and they turn out all right. I don't usually fit under that umbrella. Well, not all the way. And yeah, there are some other little umbrellas that you might fit under, but even those assume a particular set of qualities, shared by everyone under it.
You're that different from everyone else.
Yeah, sometimes I think that. Sometimes I need individual attention. I don't need a menu of help options. I need something custom made.
But if you choose not to select any of the options, then maybe the person that isn't helping you is you.
Now see, I have a particular problem with that wording. Choose. It assumes that the correct item for me is definitely on that menu, and that I've never tried the menu before. But you can look at me and say, oh, well, you're choosing not to order anything, so it's your fault if you go hungry. Nothing on the menu has sustenance for me. And it's not from a lack of trying to sustain myself on it. I've definitely ordered multiple helpings of everything before. But then you get to comfortably chastise me for continuing to be hungry and be so self-satisfied that you've done all you can to point the hungry man to a menu, which you probably don't even know much about.
Maybe you could look at a different menu?
Well, yes. Oh, I've looked at different menus. But you need to book your place at the restaurant 2 years in advance in some cases and hope you don't starve to death before then. Or boil your belt and boots, to eat the leather. That's a thing, right?
And you have a hard time achieving your goals because you're starving and can't find sustenance.
Come on, man. In order to succeed, at some point, someone else has to want you to succeed too. There are things in place that are meant to grab and go if you're having a hard time supporting yourself, and those things, for the most part, are to be commended. It's something. But it's not enough for everyone. A lot of the time, those things are just meant to keep the rats at bay so they don't bother the rest of the restaurant patrons, and the restaurant manager can feel good about showing off his cruelty-free rat dispersal.
You think of yourself as a rat?
Well, I've got the teeth for it.
But you think no one wants to see you succeed. They want to see you fail.
No, not fail. I definitely didn't say that. They just don't care. It's of no consequence to them. You are of no consequence to them. They won't get in your way if you don't get in theirs, but they're not gonna give you any nudges to get further along. There's nothing in it for them. Hell, I wish people wanted to see me fail more often because it rallies me. I get so much accomplished when people tell me I'm not allowed to do something or that I can't. I am turbo fueled by hate and spite.
You wouldn't think it to talk to you today. Maybe a little frustrated overall.
I have burned so many bridges being a screaming ball of fiery rage. And there are a lot of bridges to cross to get to where I want to go. If I want to be sure to leave an impression and be a consequence, I can burn the bridge and the next 3 towns down from it. But I don't really want to do that. Not anymore. People get burned in fires, myself notwithstanding. I don't like burning people. People you've burned are not usually predisposed to helping you achieve your goals. Look, I don't like being a problem for people. I can't always avoid being a problem, but I can try my damnedest not to burn them. So if I'm sometimes a bit weird and goofy, it's better to raise a few eyebrows and be considered odd than to immolate the entirety of my surroundings. There won't be many eyebrows left at all after that.
Have you never found anyone or anything to help you in the way that you think you need?
I also didn't say that. But, time is finite and resources are limited. Some things you can't take with you or you can't always access. I can thrive and shine and leave good, strong, lasting impressions and pass for any other normal human person thing. There are entire groups of people, albeit small, who actually think of me fondly and have expressed a desire to see me again. Those people knew me when I had access to resources. Good, worthwhile, effective resources. When I'm on my own, it's all I can do just to try not to ruin someone else's day or their life. There are some people out there who do not think very fondly of me. Oh my god, this stupid phone. Shut the fuck up, please. Shut the fuck up, please. I don't want to hear you. Please just go the fuck away. Thought I put it on silent, sorry. That's my wake up alarm. It's rare for me to be up this early. Usually I just pass out wherever I'm standing when it's time.